and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews here on this muggy Tuesday. There is a severe thunderstorm watch out right now for my county, so this may get cut short, but I'm going to pray that we're going to make it through this. So today, in keeping with my Baby Gun, Daddy Gun series, I'm revisiting probably the first video that I had done with the Baby Gun, Daddy Gun series. And that was the BodyGuard 380 Smith & Wesson versus the M&P Shield. Now, a few months back, I actually sold my BodyGuard 380. It was a first-generation BodyGuard, probably from around 2012, 2013. Had the laser in it. Originally, it had an Insight laser, and I had put a Crimson Trace laser in it. Smith & Wesson warranted that and gave it to me for free. I recently sold it because I needed money to buy another handgun. I actually sold that and a couple others to buy my Ruger SP101. But realistically, I didn't think that through because the BodyGuard 380 in my jurisdiction is the smallest handgun that you can buy. We can't buy Ruger LCPs or LCP2s. We can't buy a lot of the Kel-Tecs, so the BodyGuard 380 was the smallest one. So I'd been looking for one for probably the last month. I found one used, and it actually turned out to be a second-generation BodyGuard. So this one is actually slated as an M&P BodyGuard 380. Now, what's changed between the original version and this one of the most notable things to me when I first looked at it, if you look at the back of the slide, it has these fish scales on it, which is more akin to what the Shield 9mm has, is those same fish scales on the back of the slide. So that's one thing. The sights on this one look exactly like an M&P Shield. Again, these ones don't have the dots, so the Shield 9mm has the dots and the BodyGuard does not. But they made it look more like an M&P series pistol. The other thing that they did, the stippling on the grip is much more aggressive than it was on the original one. I went back and watched my other videos. The stippling on this is much better. Now, it could just be me, because I haven't held one of these in a while, but the recoil spring on this seems lighter and the trigger seems a little bit better. So it's possible somebody did some work on this one. It didn't look like any of the parts inside had been changed to me. So we're going to go ahead and shoot this thing, and I'm going to do another Baby Gun, Daddy Gun video. And again, it's the M&P BodyGuard 380 versus the M&P Shield 9mm. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. And today I'm trying to do stuff differently at my range. It may come out really crummy. Forgot my tripod again. So what I'm going to try to do is actually stand in frame in the camera and shoot so you can actually see what I'm doing. I like watching videos like that. I assume you guys do too. So I'm going to start out with the BodyGuard, the Baby Gun. And I'm starting out with just some 95 grain round nose. I'm going to do 2 magazines with this, which is 6 rounds per magazine. And then I'm going to do 2 8-round magazines with the Shield 9mm to see how they compare. So here we go. This is about 6 yards, 18 feet from me to that target, and the wind is kicking up, so hopefully my target stand doesn't fall over, because it typically does. So here we go. This is the Baby Gun, the M&P BodyGuard 380. I'm going on the left target, and let's see how I do. Last time I took this out, I did pretty good with this guy, and again, this trigger feels good, so let's see how we do. Wow. So 18 feet, not the best, but I'm going to do another magazine. The trigger on this is definitely better than the last BodyGuard I had. Again, I don't know if this has a trigger kit in it. When you buy a used gun, you never really know what you're getting. I'm in love with this thing already. This is definitely better than the old one I had. So a little bit low, which is typical of me. I tend to shoot low. I'll probably shoot low with the Shield too. But that's the Baby Gun. I love this thing. I don't know why this trigger feels so much better than the other one. It's possible it has a spring kit in it. I absolutely love this thing. In fact, I'm going to put another magazine through it. I like it that much. And again, main reason why I sold it, I wanted to get more money to buy something else. I regretted it because it was the smallest handgun I have. I tend to carry this guy almost more than anything else, especially in the summertime when I'm just wearing a t-shirt. I have an inside the waistband holster. I keep it in that. I actually use the same inside the waistband holster that I use for my P238. They're actually interchangeable in that hybrid holster I have, so it works out pretty well for me. But again, one more magazine through it. I'm going to go still with the left target. I'm going to try to take my time, and I'll try to get it more center of mass this time. That was a little bit better. So I had more shots in the center 2 rings than I did previously. Again, those silhouettes, if I was looking at a real person at that distance, that would actually be a pretty small person, because those targets are only 11 by 18, so the width of the shoulders across is less than 11 inches, and I'm 18 feet away. So it'd basically be like I'm shooting at somebody about 25 feet away, and that's my results. So I'm going to go ahead and switch off now to the daddy gun. And again, no surprise to you guys, the Shield 9mm. This is one of my favorite handguns. A lot of people hate them because the triggers on them are terrible. It's a self-defense pistol. I bought the one that does not have the manual safety on it, just the way I happen to like carrying it. And I'm actually trying out a couple of different things this time as well. This is a 7-round magazine with a +2 base that I put on it. I forget what company these are. You can buy them off eBay. They're like 14 bucks a piece. And it basically slides on in place of the old base plate. Has a little metal tab that holds the base on there, and you can put an extra 2 rounds in it. I actually had trouble putting 2 extra rounds in it. I stuck this on my 7-round magazine, and I could only fit 1 more in there comfortably. So at least I turned my 7-round magazine into an 8-round. But let's see how it does. Again, this is the daddy gun, the M&P 9mm Shield. And this has an Apex trigger kit in it, so let's see how I do on the right target. Wow, for me, that's a really good target. And I had no issues with that magazine. I'm also trying out a couple of Pro Mag magazines, basically because they're cheaper than a Shield magazine. So, Pro Mag 8-round magazines, I'll be shooting with these after this magazine. This is an 8-round Shield magazine. This is a Pro Mag 8-round magazine. So let's see how both of them do. Not bad. I'm doing pretty good today. I haven't been out in a couple of weeks. I miss it. And boy, I love shooting this gun. I don't care what people say about Shields. You put an Apex spring kit in this, leave the factory trigger in, it still has a nice long trigger take-up, but it's a much crisper break at about 6.5 pounds. I'm comfortable carrying this thing, and the rounds speak for themselves. And there you go. That was a Pro Mag magazine, 0 failures. More than happy to buy more of these things. They're a lot cheaper than Shield magazines from the factory. I have no issue with that. They're made in the United States. Pro Mag stuff is getting better. I used to think it was crap. A lot of people said their stuff didn't work, but every one that I've ever tried has worked pretty well. So let's go ahead and look at the target. All right, so on the left, that's 18 rounds out of the BodyGuard 380. And again, my first couple of rounds were up here in the middle. Then I started stringing them low, and then I brought them back up. These 3, I think, were in my second magazine. We'd have to go back and watch the footage. And that's my Shield 9mm. For me, 18 feet, that is a terrific target. I mean, again, I'm not a marksman. I never claimed to be. I had one way outside here. That was kind of a fluke. That might have even been a 380, I'm not sure. But for me, 9mm, to have that many rounds inside the center of this, that's phenomenal. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of magazines up at the top targets up here with both of them again, and let's see how I do. All right, so this time around, I'm going to start off with the Shield, and I'm actually shooting some 124 grain lead round nose, mainly because this is what I could get last week when I went to the gun shop. A lot of places around here, the smaller shops, don't have any factory 9mm, or if they do, it's like $20 a box. This was, I think, $13.99 or $14.99 for 50 rounds of reloaded 9mm lead round nose. So when I come out here and shoot this stuff, I'm probably shooting about 40 or 50, maybe even $60 worth of ammo to do this little 8, 10, 15 minute long video. So hope you guys appreciate it. All this comes out of my pocket. So 124 grain, lead round nose. The wind's starting to pick up, so I'm betting we're going to get some rain soon. I'm going to try to make this quick. Again, I'm going to shoot at the top left ring on that silhouette target, and then I'll grab another mag and I'll shoot at the top right one. But let's see how good I can do shooting pretty slow here. Wow, this stuff is smoky. Let's see, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the ring and 2 a little bit low. So, 5, no, I had 6, 5 in the target and 3 low. 1 a little bit low left and 2 low. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my mag. Same stuff, 124 grain, lead round nose. I'm going to go for the top right little bullseye on that silhouette target. Low. I don't know why, I tend to shoot pistols low, and I think it's I pull them down because I'm using too much of my finger. I should be using the tip of my finger. So that time I only had 3 in the target. I had 1 way off the side, 1 over the target, and then 3 in the bottom. So not terrific. Let's go ahead and do another one. I'll do headshot this time and see how I do there. Low, right, low, a little low to the right, a little low to the left. Yeah, when I really slow down, I do much better. So let's go look at that target real quick. So I did 8 rounds at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did 8 rounds at this one. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I had 1 off the paper and 1 over the paper. And then I did 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this was one of the other ones. So not terrible. This one was definitely the best. What happens, like I said, I think I grip too much of the trigger when I do this. I also don't breathe very slow. I try to shoot off 2 rounds or 3 rounds before I breathe, and that kind of messes me up. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this with the baby gun, the M&P BodyGuard 380. All right, so now I'm going to do the same drill with the M&P BodyGuard 380. Same thing, 3 magazines, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, and then 1 on the top. So let's see how I do now. Pulled that one way low. Oh, didn't go off. Ah, had a dud and I pulled it. Way high, right. Not bad. High. Little high and right. So definitely I need more practice with this gun, but the trigger on it is still surprising because the other one I had, the trigger was way stiffer than this one. This one is way better. So this one is going to be the right bullseye. Ah, that trigger always surprises me. I pulled a couple of those low and a couple of those right. That was not a very good group at all. Go ahead and do 1 mag at the head and see where I go. There's already 1 on the head from my first magazine. Let's see if I can do better on this time around. That wasn't too bad. That was terrible. Not bad. Low. High. Alright, so let's go look at the difference between the M&P BodyGuard 380 and the Shield. And that's pretty miserable. So that was my first shot. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of these was in the head. So that might have been there. It might have been that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And then my second magazine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know where the 6th one went. And then my third magazine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think the other one went over, so not that great. I'm a lot better when I'm shooting at the center of mass when I can really see where my shots are going, but again, difference between the Shield, different trigger. That one's striker fire, this one's double action only, so the BodyGuard has a lot longer trigger pull than the Shield does. Recoil doesn't matter on either of them, it's not bad at all. The sight radius is different, it's a lot longer on the Shield than it is on the BodyGuard. All that stuff plays a factor. For me, I think the biggest difference is the trigger, because when I go from one to the other, I tend to have you know, a pretty big difference in the trigger pull length. So when I started out on the BodyGuard, you saw I was hitting a lot of them right in the center, and then I strung them vertically down. When I switched over to the Shield, I had a lot better on my first group here. Then when I switched back over here, I started having, you know, a lot worse groups. So just switching back and forth between the two is never the best thing to do. I'm just trying to compare the two guns side by side. Both will hit the target, and last thing I'm going to do is a ballistics test. So let me go ahead and get set up for that. Alright, so I'm going to do a very non-scientific ballistics test. I have 2 jugs of water behind me. The one on the right is red, the one on the left is green. I'm going to go ahead and hit the one on the right with the Shield 9mm and the one on the left with the BodyGuard. And let's see what the ballistic difference is between a 380 ACP 95 grain round and 124 grain, actually 115 grain copper plated round nose. So this is a jacketed round nose, 95 grain out of the BodyGuard, and I'm going to shoot the green target there. Missed it. Man. Crap. Now I got to go reset it. Because it didn't. It's bleeding. It's bleeding. No. Well, I split it. So it went out through the bottom. Put a pretty big hole in it. Actually, that was the entrance wound. So entrance wound here, and then entrance wound. Maybe that was the only one, and the shock force went down, blew the bottom out. One round came out there. So you saw it. I hit it, it popped up in the air, it started bleeding. So had a little bit of an effect. Now let's do the same thing with a 9mm and see how I do with that. So again, 115 grain, full metal jacket, round nose. Let's see how I do with the red one. Inconclusive. Realistically, they looked about the same to me. Wasn't the greatest shot on either of those, but let's go look at the red one now. I actually think I blew the cap off of this one. So definitely a little more damage on this guy. I put a through and through right in the side here, and I hit it up here, which split the seam and popped it up in the air. I also hit it right there. So one of those was when it was on the ground. This one was when it on the ground. It skimmed into it. But honestly, I mean, one major tear in the one for the 380, couple of major tears in the one for the 9mm. Even though the rounds have different velocities and the weights are different. One's 115 grain versus 95 grain, but they're both kind of a compact pistol. One's 9mm, one's 380. So the actual outside of the bullet diameter isn't that different. One weighs less, one weighs more, one has a slightly longer barrel, one has a slightly shorter barrel. But in my non-scientific test, the ballistics weren't that different. And again, very non-scientific. But thanks for watching Cranky Gun Reviews. I appreciate everybody that takes time to watch my videos. I'm just some guy that lives out in the country and likes shooting guns. So for you people that come together and watch my videos, I really appreciate it. And this has been another edition of Baby Gun with the BodyGuard 380, Daddy Gun with the Shield 9mm. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless America. And make sure you support your two-way rights.